I always thought Mothkeeper wraps looked really cool, like visually. They got that vibe, and spawning literal moths that's just straight up epic. But whenever I tried using them, I couldn't get into it. The moths felt slow, kinda buggy, and didn't give much of an immediate benefit. So I ended up treating the exotic like dirty dishes from yesterday's dinner. I just kept ignoring it. After working on my exotic tier list though, I figured, you know what, let's give it another shot. Let's actually try to build around Mothkeepers and see if I can end up saying, yeah, I like these now. And honestly, I should have given them more thought earlier. This is one of those exotics where you really have to build smart, not just throw on 2 funny fragments and call it a day. The goal here was simple. Get moths up as often as possible, without long downtime like I saw in a lot of other builds. Also, no Ex Diris. I think that combo is a bit overhyped by some content creators, so I wanted to make it work without it. Let's jump into it. For exotic armor, obviously Mothkeepers wraps. Convert your grenade into 2 charges of Cage of Loyal Moths, with a cooldown of 73 seconds. When thrown, you'll spawn either 2 Arc Moths, 2 Void Moths, or 1 of each. Arc Moths blind targets and Void Moths give a 22.5 HP Void overshield to you or allies. For the abilities, we're gonna go Strand. For the super, Silk Strike. It's the only option for Strand Hunter, but honestly it's solid. Light attack, focused single target damage, heavy attack, big AoE swing that are great for act clear. For the class ability, Gambler's Dodge. Simple and reliable melee regen. We need that to keep the build's loop going. As for the melee, the Threaded Spike, one of the best powered melees in the game. Bounces up to 9 times, applies Sever, minus 40% enemy damage, and creates Tangles, which we'll be using a lot. As for the grenade, doesn't really matter. Mothkeepers will override your grenade, so pick whatever. As for the aspects, the first one will be Widow's Silk. Grants an additional grenade charge, and surprisingly it works with Mothkeepers, giving you 3 total moth grenades. I didn't expect Bungie to allow that, but hey, I'm not complaining. For the second aspect, Whirling Maelstrom. Destroying a tangle spawns a swirling tangle that homes in on enemies, dealing damage and applying Unravel. This lasts 12 seconds and helps keep ability regen flowing. These fragments help with survivability, damage uptime and tangle generation. For the first one, Thread of Warding. Pick up an orb, gain 5 seconds of Woven Mai, which is a 45% damage resist, super helpful for staying alive and tough for content. Then Thread of Transmutation. While Woven Mai is active, weapon final blows create tangles. This synergizes beautifully with Maelstrom. For the third one, Thread of Propagation. Power melee kills grants unraveling rounds. This means more damage and more tangles and more grenade ability regen, thanks to the last fragment, Thread of Generation. Deal damage equals get grenade energy. This one scales better the more things you have doing passive damage, which we do with Moths, Tangles, Unravel, Spike melee, weapons. It all stacks. For the weapons, so I tried quite a few weapons with this one. Originally I wanted to pair Mothkeepers with Tessellation, but since Moths count as arc damage, Tessellation auto-swapped to arc 2. That killed a lot of synergies. No unraveling rounds, no harmonic siphon, etc. So I scrapped it. Fusion rifles with Demolitionist were also on the table, but in high-end PvE getting in close isn't always an option, and there's no Strand fusion with Demolitionist anyway, at least to my knowing. So here's what I landed on. In the kinetic slot, the Call. Rocket Sidearm hits hard, amazing ammo economy, and Demolitionist gives 10% grenade energy per kill. Generally feels like it was made for this build, performs in all PvE activities. For your energy slot, it's actually really flexible. Use what you're comfortable with. I usually run Posterity with Reconstruction and Demolitionist, or Red Death for healing. If you're confident in ammo drops, try a grenade launcher like VS Velocity Payton with Attrition Orbs, good for ore generation and grenade spam. As for the heavy, it's quite flexible, but I do recommend a Strand one to benefit from unraveling rounds. I use Scintillation by default, but I swap depending on the content. Let's get into the armor stats and mod setup. So here's the stat spread I'm running. 80 mobility, 100 resilience, 23 recovery, 107 discipline, 28 intellect and 42 strength. On the helmet, I'm running a special ammo finder, just to make sure I'm not constantly out of ammo for the call. Then a harmonic siphon generates orbs of power with strand weapon kills, which feeds straight into your ability loop. And Dynamo. Dodging your enemies gives you a little super energy. It's only 2.5% per dodge, but trust me, it stacks up over time. On the arms, 1 focusing strike. Power melee hits gives 12% class ability energy, which has a 7-second cooldown. Then 2 impact inductions. Same deal, but for grenade energy instead. 17% per melee hit, also on the 7-second cooldown. You could swap these out for something like firepower or bolstering detonation. But I tested a bunch of different setups and this one felt the smoothest. On the chest, run whatever resistant mods you need based on content. I also use harmonic reserves, adds a plus 20 to your inventory size for strand weapons. Another reason I leaned into strand across the board. Both the call and your heavy benefit from it. On the legs, recuperation restores 70 HP when picking up an orb. Orbs of Restoration, which gives 10% ability energy to your lowest charged ability when picking up an orb. A little side note, this won't charge your moths if you already got one ready, but it will help bring back your class ability faster. Then a Harmonic Scavenger, more strand ammo from bricks, simple but effective. So here's another quick side note. The reason I use Orbs of Restoration instead of the direct class ability mod is because this one gives 10% per orb, while the other specifically for the class ability only gives 4%. That's a huge difference. Plus, by getting your class ability back quicker, you indirect speeding up your grenade and melee regeneration too. Then, you could also run a weapon search for 10% bonus strand weapon damage if you'd rather lean into damage, but personally I preferred having more ammo to keep things flowing. On the class ability, Bomber, 12% grenade energy every time you dodge, Powerful Attraction pulls nearby orbs to you when dodging, and Reaper creates an orb of power after a kill post dodge. All 3 of these tie into the whole loop. You dodge, get energy, generate orbs, and feed right back into grenades and abilities. The uptime feels really solid with this setup. Let's look a little bit at the rotation. It becomes a smooth loop. Use 1 grenade charge to blind enemies and maybe get an overshield out of it. Follow up with your powered melee to sever them, finish them off, and trigger Maelstrom. Keep getting kills with the call, keep throwing grenades. It's a constant loop of ability spam, aspect triggered damage, debuffing, and fast regen. Everything's feeding into itself. This is the first build where I actually started on Prismatic and ended up switching back to Strand, and I don't regret it one bit. It also beat my Caliban's hand build in terms of how much time I spent testing and optimizing. And yeah, I am honestly surprised at how well it turned out. If you got your own version of Mothkeepers build or think there's something I could improve, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, night, evening, morning, afternoon, or whatever your time zone is. And hopefully see you in the next one.